right, so today we're doing a deep dive into something pretty wild, and that's the DJ Industrial Complex. And I'm sure some of you out there have heard of them.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into all the juicy details today.
Yeah, and what really drew me into DJIC was it's just this incredible paradox, right? Like, it's a chemical plant in Mississippi.
Of all places, right?
Yeah, but instead of, producing chemicals, they are outputting art, like actual art. MFAs are working there.
So strange. I mean,
avant-garde artists.
We've been combing through articles, internal documents, audio clips. I mean, you name it. We've got it when it comes to DJIC.
Yeah,
and
it really makes you question, like, what even is art? Where can art exist? Like, it really breaks down these preconceived notions.
Yeah, and the output's just insane. I mean, we're talking about 4-second video art pieces. We're talking about these products they put out that bend reality, films they found, and they just re-edited them and took out all the sex. I mean, it's all over the place.
Yeah, and they have their own internal currency called Checkles.
I know, it's incredible, right?
What is
going on there? So how did this all even begin? Like, how did they get started?
Well, it all started back in 1973 with an industrialist by the name of Dan Japson.
Okay.
And he had this crazy idea, like, what if instead of staffing this chemical plant with the usual suspects, we staffed it with artists, specifically like MFAs and, super avant-garde people.
We've already seen how this is going to get interesting.
All right. It was like this real world experiment in Derive, this concept of like playfully exploring urban environments and just seeing what happens, seeing where you end up. But instead of a city, they have a factory as their canvas.
So what kind of art comes out of a factory turned art studio?
Well, let's just say it's not the type of art you'd see in a, traditional gallery.
Right.
One example that comes to mind is a film they made called Rum and Ass.
I mean, that title alone.
Yeah, it's something else.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so the film itself is 39 minutes.
Okay.
And it's just like visual feedback and reflections and distortions. It's like you're tumbling through like alternate dimensions.
Really?
Yeah. The art critic, Percival Drift, he's been with Frieze magazine since like 1996.
Right.
He described it as like a tactile experience. Like you could reach into the screen and feel the static.
That's wild. All right, what about Dopula? I read that one's like a vampire film, but they kind of like reimagined it.
Yeah. Dopula is a really interesting one. It has this like film school aesthetic, but also like with like awkward moments like you might see like online,
Yeah.
And Drift actually called it a defanged vampire. Like, it's more likely to suck the joy out of a room than blood.
It's funny because that actually sounds very on brand for DJIC. It's like they find something that exists like that, the vampire, or later we'll talk about like porn and even bureaucracy. Like, they take that thing that we all know and then they twist it into something totally new and unexpected.
Exactly. And it's always hilarious, but also thought-provoking. Yeah. Like, you're laughing, but then you're like, wait a minute.
What are they really trying to say here?
Yeah, and they're not afraid to get meta with it either.
Oh, yeah.
They have this film called Fashion, and it's basically a pornographic film, but they edited out all the sex and added these humorous subtitles.
Okay.
And it's basically this critique of like the fashion industry and like the whole world of, acting and performance and image.
It's like you're holding a mirror up to society and being like, look at you guys, this is ridiculous.
Exactly. They're using humor and absurdity to like break down these systems that we all take for granted.
Yeah. Okay. But this next one, I think, really takes the cake for weirdness.
Oh.
The dimensional acoustic mirror, or like they call it the DAM.
Okay.
It supposedly sends like audio signals into other dimensions and then captures the video output from that.
Yeah. And they have a resident DJ, DJIC.
Right.
And he'll play music into this thing during live streams, and it's quite a spectacle.
So they're literally making interdimensional jam.
Basically, yeah.
What does that even look like?
So picture like these bizarre otherworldly visuals, but they sync perfectly with the audio.
Okay.
It's very heady and theoretical.
I bet.
But they document everything like super meticulously.
Yeah.
They're giving these dimensions names like Dimension Delta 729 and Dimension Hanover 491.
So they're building their own mythology, right? Like this whole catalog of the unseen.
Yeah.
Okay, but we've got to talk about their currency. The Checkle, or is it the Checkle?
Yeah, even the spelling is up for debate.
Mystery bound, guiding heart. that roam on ground. Checkle grand, our light, our grace, we find in you our sacred place.
Right.
But it's their internal chit system. It's a circle with a check mark in it.
Yeah, like a gold star for being creatively awesome.
Yeah, and you earn these Checkles for contributing to DJIC projects.
So what do you get for, like, getting all these Checkles?
Well, it's not about, like, actual cash value. It's more about status and access within DJIC.
Oh, okay.
The more Checkles you have, the better streaming slots you might get.
Okay.
Or access to, like, special archives and resources. It's like a measure of your influence within their little ecosystem.
It's like their own internal social currency.
Right, exactly.
Of course, DJIC can't do anything without injecting humor into it.
Of course not.
They have a whole internal joke about calling it the dickle when you rotate the Checkle.
Oh, yeah.
And they're very serious about their jokes.
Yeah.
Like, so serious. They have whole systems for classifying and documenting them, like their two-step verification joke.
JK9013.
Yeah, it has like an incident report. Multiple stages of deployment.
The whole thing.
It's like, are they making fun of bureaucracy, or is the bureaucracy the joke itself?
I think it's both.
Yeah, it's like they've created this universe where art and work and absurdity just all melt together.
Yeah, and that's what makes them so fascinating. They're not just creating art, they're creating a system.
A culture.
Right, a culture. That really challenges the way we think about how things should be done. Like, it's a performance on a massive scale.
It's like they're saying, okay, we can be productive and creative, but we're going to do it our own way with our own rules, and we're going to have a lot of fun while we're at it.
Totally. And that brings us to this interesting question. Is DJIC a cultural weapon? You know, are they intentionally using their platform to critique society, corporate culture, the art world?
I mean, they are definitely poking fun at those things.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel mean-spirited.
Right. It's not just mockery.
Right. They're actually experimenting, and it feels like they're trying to build something new, even while they're tearing down the old systems.
Yeah. I think they're walking this tightrope between criticism and creation.
It's a very delicate balance.
Yeah, and they use humor and satire and this absurdist lens to, like, dissect these established systems.
But they do it with a straight face, which somehow makes it even funnier.
Totally. And what's really impressive is how they manage to be critical without being cynical.
Yeah.
There's this, like, playful energy to their work that suggests they're not just, you know, tearing things down, but also trying to build something better.
So it's not just about pointing out what's wrong. It's about using those flaws to create something new and unexpected.
Exactly. And that's where their 4-second video artwork comes in. You know, the one Percival Drift wrote about in Freeze?
Yeah, he called it a profound statement of possibility within an absurd system.
Right. And he even connects their whole operation to this concept of détournement.
Right. Taking something that exists and transforming its meaning into something new and subversive.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming the power of creation and using it to challenge the way things are.
Great. I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together now. The weird films, the Checkles, the dimensional acoustic, mirror even their bureaucratic processes. It's all part of this bigger strategy. They're creating this multi-layered critique of the world, but they're doing it in a way that's funny and also makes you think.
Yeah, they're inviting us to question everything, to look beyond the surface and see the absurdity in the everyday.
To see the humor in the serious and the serious in the humor.
Yeah.
To see the potential for creativity in the most unexpected places.
Exactly, and to realize that even within these rigid structures of society, there's always room for play, for disruption, for, like, reimagining the world around us.
This has been a real mind-bending trip so far.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that DJIC isn't just a place, it's a state of mind. It's about looking at the world with fresh eyes and finding humor in the unexpected.
Yeah, it's about embracing the absurd and using it to fuel your creativity.
But we've only scratched the surface of this bizarre and brilliant world. Stick with us, because we're going to continue our deep dive into the DJ industrial complex after the break. Trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next.
And we are back for more DJIC, where the only thing more unpredictable than their art is their next internal memo.
Oh, man. Yeah. Last time we were talking about this idea of, like, you know, they take something like an existing object, concepts, and they totally twist it into something new and subversive, you know, that détournement thing.
Right, exactly. And probably one of the best examples of this is this project that they did that blurred the lines between, like, art and reality. Have you heard of the Phillips arc?
The Phillips arc? No, is that like some kind of futuristic weapon?
Not quite, but it kind of sounds like it, right? So back in the late 2000s, Philip actually released this product called the Arc, and it was pretty strange.
All right, I'm intrigued now.
So picture this. You're throwing a party, right? But you're a little socially anxious, so you whip out this massive contraption called the Philips arc. I mean, this thing basically takes up your whole living room.
That sounds cozy.
Yeah, you pop in a cartridge and this thing starts projecting these like life-size holographic guests into your party.
Hold on, wait, holographic party guests? In the late 2000s? Like, that seems way ahead of its time.
It was, and it wasn't pretty. I mean, imagine these clunky early hologram figures trying to mingle with real people. It was like the uncanny valley times 10, but it gets weirder.
Okay, you got to tell me more.
The Ark also plays this music, right? But it's like specially curated music with subliminal messages designed to boost your confidence and like encourage conversation.
So you're trying to make small talk with a hologram while this music is whispering affirmations in your ear. I don't know if that's genius or terrifying.
It's a little bit of both, right? It's like dystopian party in a box. It's like this commentary on our anxieties and how technology always tries to fix them in the most ridiculous ways possible.
Yeah, okay, but so how does this tie back to DJIC? I thought they were all about like, art, not corporate product design.
Well, that's the thing. DJIC claims that they actually created the concept and the backstory for the Philips arc as this elaborate art prank.
Wait, are you serious? They punked Philips?
They did. They even released a DJ mix, which is in our sources, and they presented it as like an example of the Arc's automated party feature. It's this crazy mix of like Detroit electro, indie house, even some UK garage.
Well, so they're using this fake product to critique real anxieties about technology and social interaction. It's like they're culture jamming, but like on a whole other level.
Exactly. It's satire, it's performance art, it's social commentary, all rolled into this ridiculous but also super thought-provoking package.
This is making me want to go down like a DJIC rabbit hole myself.
It's definitely a rabbit hole worth exploring.
Yeah, listen to all their mixes, watch their films.
Yeah.
All right, but let's go back to the Checkle for a second.
Okay.
We talk about how people earn them, but what can you actually do with them? Like, besides bragging rights?
Yeah, you can't trade them in for cash or anything like that, but they have a lot of power within the DJIC world.
Okay.
Think of it as like a way to get access to resources and gain influence within their little system.
So like their internal social currency.
Exactly. The more Checkles you get, the more opportunities you have to participate in DJIC projects. Maybe get better streaming slots or access their special archives and resources.
So it's like a game that incentivizes people to contribute to the collective. It reinforces their self-contained system. It's fascinating how they've created this whole world with its own rules and hierarchies.
It really is. And while we often talk about DJIC as this single entity, it's important to remember that it's made up of hundreds of individual artists.
Oh, right. Yeah, our sources mention over 350 people working at DJIC from all different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Visual arts, music, film, performance art, you name it.
Yeah, how do they manage to wrangle all that creative energy into a cohesive vision?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, that's where their infamous bureaucracy comes in. Remember those meticulously documented jokes we talked about?
Oh, yeah.
They have these elaborate systems and processes for literally everything.
Right, like the two-step verification joke with the incident report and the multi-stage deployment. It seemed so ridiculous, but maybe they're onto something.
Right, maybe there's a method to the madness.
Right.
Imposing these like seemingly arbitrary rules and procedures, they're actually creating a framework for collaboration, a structure for channeling all these different voices.
It's like that saying, necessity is the mother of invention. Mm-hmm. By forcing themselves to work within these constraints, they're constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Exactly. This whole deep dive has really made me think differently about the relationship between art and work. I used to see them as separate things, but DJIC suggests they can actually be intertwined, even complementary.
Absolutely. They're blurring the lines, showing us that work can be creative and art can be a form of labor. And they're doing it all with a wink and a smile, which makes it all the more subversive.
I think the main takeaway here is that creativity can bloom in the most unexpected places. You don't need a fancy gallery or $1 million budget to make art.
Right. You just need that spark of inspiration, a willingness to experiment, and maybe a healthy dose of absurdity.
And a whole lot of Checkles.
And a whole lot of Checkles, right. DJIC has created this space where anything is possible, the rules are constantly being rewritten, and imagination just runs wild.
Yeah, it's inspiring, really. It makes you realize that we all need a little bit of that DJIC thinking in our lives, that willingness to challenge the status quo, to embrace the absurd, and to find joy in the unexpected.
It's about approaching the world with a sense of playfulness and wonder and never being afraid to ask, what if?
Exactly. And on that note, we've reached the end of part 2 of our DJIC adventure. But don't worry, we've got one more part to go, and things are about to get even weirder and more wonderful.
Okay, so welcome back to the final part of our DJIC deep dive. We've talked about their films, their products, those wild bureaucratic systems, the Checkles.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
But there's one last layer of this, this onion of absurdity that we need to peel back.
Yeah, I think it's time we dive into the heart of their dimensional acoustic mirror projects.
The dam.
Yeah, exactly. This is where science fiction meets art installation, all filtered through like DJIC's signature dry humor.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to contact other dimensions, but they're doing it with a corporate budget and a PowerPoint presentation.
Exactly. And they've actually released a ton of material on this project, technical documents, recordings of these supposed interdimensional transmissions.
Yeah, I took a look at some of those documents, and let's just say it gets pretty dense.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of jargon about, grain frequency harmonics and quantum entanglement. It's hard to tell what's real science and what's just pure DJIC fabrication.
Right. And that's part of what makes it so interesting.
They blend real scientific concepts with their own brand of absurdist fiction.
It's like they're blurring the lines between fact and fantasy.
Exactly. And they have these elaborate classifications for these different dimensions based on their properties, like Delta 729 and Hanover 491.
Yeah, it's like they're creating their own interdimensional taxonomy.
Yeah.
I spent some time with transmission set G491 beta, and it is truly bizarre.
Oh, yeah. What'd you think?
The visuals are these strange abstract patterns, and they seem to sync up perfectly with the audio.
Okay.
And they even claim that the data suggests there's intentionality behind these transmissions, maybe even sentience.
It's that mix of genuine intrigue and that tongue-in-cheek humor that makes the damn project so captivating.
They're playing with our sense of wonder and that desire to understand the unknown, but at the same time, they're kind of poking fun at the way we try to explain these complex scientific phenomena.
It's like they're saying, hey, we can use all this fancy scientific language too, but, at the end of the day, it might all just be a bunch of noise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're deconstructing the language of authority.
Right.
Exposing the absurdity of jargon and technical details.
Right.
They're reminding us that sometimes the most profound mysteries are best approached with a sense of wonder and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Yeah, for sure. But we can't forget about the art itself. I keep thinking about that 4-second video artwork.
Oh, yeah, the one Percival Drift wrote about in Freeze.
Yeah, he called it a condensation of DJIC's operational philosophy.
Right, he saw it as this commentary on art and work and the systems that govern our lives.
Visually, it's so simple.
It is.
Just a DR screen, 2 bars of two-step music, and then the word yes.
Yeah.
But that simplicity, that reduction to the bare essentials, is what makes it so powerful.
Right, it's like they're proving a point.
Yeah.
You don't need these grand gestures or these complex concepts to create art.
Right.
You just need the right elements, the right context, and a willingness to challenge conventions.
And that's that deceptive determinant thing again, right?
Totally.
They're taking something familiar like the two-step music, the yes prompt, and twisting it into something new.
It's a brilliant way of commenting on how we create meaning.
Yeah.
How easily it can be manipulated.
It's all a game.
It is, and they're playing it better than anyone.
Remember the Phillips arc?
Oh, yeah.
That whole project was a masterclass in satire.
It was.
Like using a fake product to pique real anxieties.
Exactly. They're exposing the absurdity of consumerism, how we're always told we need more to be happy.
And DJIC is offering an alternative, right?
Yeah, they're saying embrace creativity and absurdity and, a healthy skepticism of the status quo. But that requires us to be more engaged, more critical, and more willing to step outside our comfort zones.
It's not always easy.
No, it's not.
But it's definitely more interesting.
It is.
DJIC reminds us that there's another way to be in the world.
Yeah.
A way that embraces playfulness and creativity and subversion.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the DJ industrial complex, I think it's important to remember this. The world is full of absurdity, but it's also full of possibility. And it's really up to us to choose how we see it and how we interact with it.
DJIC shows us that we don't have to accept things as they are. we can question, we can challenge, we can create, and we can have a lot of fun doing it.
This has been quite a journey.
It really has.
We've explored the strange and wonderful world of DJIC.
A place where art and work and absurdity collide.
We've talked about their thought-provoking films, their bizarre products, those crazy systems, and their unique brand of humor.
We learned about dérive, the tournement, the Checkle economy,
talking holograms,
interdimensional transmission,
a 4-second video that sums up an entire artistic philosophy.
DJIC is more than just an art collective.
It's a state of mind.
A way of seeing the world that embraces creativity and challenges conventions and never takes itself too seriously.
So as you go back out into the world, remember the lessons of DJIC.
Embrace the absurd.
Question everything.
Never stop creating.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep playing.
Checkle strong, with mystery bound, guiding hearts that roam underground. Checkle grand, our light, our grace, we find in you our sacred place. Where hammers strike and a whisper stir, the Checkle hums an ancient purr. It spans the mountains, hunts the sea, in symbol vast, it sets us free. Oh, Checkle true, in circle cast, forever new, forever vast, our hymn for thee, with hearts unswayed, through twilight dim, and sunshow's cascade, in halls of grass and fields of glass, the Checkle bids all bound to pass. In silver arc, in timeless spin, our faithful guide, our oldest friend. Through winter's chill and summer's breath, the Checkle guards from birth to death. It bids us dare, it bids us soar, and shields us ever, evermore. Oh, Checkle bright, beyond compare, the silent answer to our prayer. You keep our course, our spirits rise, the Checkle's light, our lasting pride.